What is that? A radioactive material? Oh, it's interesting. It seems the ionizing radiations from the radioactive material are helping to create a channel for the arc to start. Isn't that dangerous to keep that in your lab? I hope the guy is at least wearing LED shorts. It's interesting though. For a while, I didn't quite know how a Marx generator worked. If you remember from my Marx generator video, all these spark gaps must release their charge at the exact same time. And I didn't know how they can all discharge at the same time because the capacitors would charge at different rates and there would be different voltages across the gaps. Basically, there are a bunch of capacitors kind of in parallel that all charge with a high voltage DC. And there are a bunch of spark gaps. And when the voltage across one of them, which is the first one first, reaches high enough, an arc jumps across it, shorting it, and all the spark gaps go off at the same time. And this will put all these capacitors in series, adding up all their voltages to a very high voltage. You see the spark gaps in my Marx generator, and I was confused because, for example, if the first capacitor reaches high enough voltage, an arc will jump across the first spark gap. That will short the voltage and the rest of the capacitors wouldn't have the opportunity to charge higher. So I did a Google to figure out why all the spark gaps go off at the same time, and I realized that the arcs generate a ton of ionizing radiations like UV or X-rays. So apparently what happens is that when the first gap arcs, it generates ionizing radiations that ionize the air in the second gap, making it much more conductive, and an arc is generated there. And in a chain effect, all the gaps go off at the same time. Well, almost the same time, depending on how fast this wave propagates. And that got me thinking, I can make these discharge gaps even wider so there won't be any discharge. And that will give the capacitors opportunity to charge to their maximum. And then maybe using an external discharge, I can trigger this chain effect and make even higher voltage anytime I want. To create the external arc, I'm going to use my high voltage magic wand and a capacitor and charge it with the wand and create the arcs. Okay, let's give it a quick try. I'll put my external trigger capacitor. Ow! Forgotten how many times this piece of shit has zapped me. Okay, let's give it a try. Oh, it's discharging on its own. Ow! Why is it? Ow! My capacitor is picking up charge, charging my body, and I can't turn off the power supply without getting shocked anymore. Damn it! Okay, I just hope no arcs jump to my wand. Ow, it's zapping me. Let's bring it a tad bit closer. It's not doing anything. Trying again at close proximity. Ow, 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 yes! Close proximity arc. Ow, damn it! Stupid capacitor. I have a feeling I have to epoxy the entire circuit except for the spark gaps for this to work better. Well, you get the idea. I don't think I need to suffer anymore for you to grasp the theory. Well, forget about the Marx generator, it's too messy. I just want to see if I put high voltage across this big capacitor here, can I trigger an arc between these legs from the radiations of an arc generated between the legs of this other capacitor. Okay, here we are. Doesn't look like it's doing anything. Ow. I think the issue is a little bit more complicated than that. It's not arcing, but it's zapping me. Ow, jeez. Ow. Ow. Let me see if it actually generates high enough voltage. Don't shock you. This. I think I need a more precise setup to be able to confirm anything. I'll do that later. Is this one for Mehdi to test? What is this? Jammer. They made a tiny circuit that jams.